Welcome to Love by Design, the podcast for high-achieving women who are ready to stop performing for love and start building it from truth, from alignment. I'll help you decode your patterns, understand your energetic blueprint, and finally date from the frequency of who you really are, not who you've been taught to be. Because you don't attract what you want, you attract what you be. Let's begin. Hello there and welcome back to Love by Design. This is Joan. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics because some people love them, some people hate them, and some people don't know what to do about them. And yes, I am talking about dating apps. So whether it's Hinge, Bumble, whatever platform you're on, I have no judgment. No judgment when it comes to being on it or being off it. I hear from women all the time who are on it, and a lot of times they feel embarrassed to admit that they're actually using the dating app because somehow they feel it means that they couldn't find the organic way. Okay, let's just put that down right now. The apps are neutral. The apps are a tool. They are one way to meet prospective or potential partners. And like any tool, they can be used well, or they can be used in a way that drains you, that confuses you, and leaves you questioning your worth at 11 p.m. on a Friday night. So the problem isn't the apps. The problem is that apps were primarily built for volume. So it's all about swiping fast, matching often, and keep scrolling. The apps are designed to keep you on the app, not off it. They are not here to help you find alignment. And for a conscious woman or conscious man, you don't need more options. You need a better way to discern. So today I want to talk about how you can use the dating app for quantity, but you date with quality. Okay? So here's what the apps do. They gamify attraction. So it's this idea of infinite scrolling. You get this dopamine hits when you get a match. You're constantly getting notifications all day that keeps pulling you back and getting you sucked into the hype of the app. It's designed to feel like abundance. But here's what it actually produces. It produces decision fatigue. It produces situations where you're constantly comparing. And it produces a subtle but very consistent message inside of you that there's always someone better just one swipe away. That is not an environment built for discernment. And if you're someone who's trying to assess alignment, not just attraction, it can feel like you're trying to have a deep conversation at a noisy party because it's just so noisy. There's just so much happening around you. And again, the environment is working against you because apps are not built for that. But there is a way that you can work within the apps consciously. And that's what I want to talk about today. It all starts with your profile. So most people write dating profiles to appeal to as many people as possible. It's like coming up with a resume. You create or curate a resume so that you can get many employers looking at you. So they're usually generic, they're usually inoffensive, they appeal to a broad spectrum of people. So you see things like, oh, I love to laugh, I work hard, but I know how to have fun, I'm here looking for my person. Truth is, that sort of profile will definitely get you some matches, but it will not get you the right matches because as someone who wants to date intentionally or consciously, you need to write your profile differently because your profile is not this advertisement where it's like, hey, everybody look at me, choose me, pick me. No, your profile is actually a filter, the first filter. So the goal is not to maximize matches. The goal is to attract the right matches. And it filters the wrong people, the more specific you are. So you need to be specific enough to only attract the people that you want. And you need to be specific enough to repel the people that you don't want. And that means writing about who you actually are, not who you think will be well received, what you're actually, truly building in your life. What actually, truly, deeply matters to you. The type of relationship that you're actually looking for, not the sanitized version of it so that you seem approachable. No. If you're doing the work, if you're doing the growth work, say so. Don't shy away from it. And I'm not saying in this jargon, plain English kind of language. No. You will say something like, I'm someone who takes my personal growth seriously, and I'm looking for someone who does the same. That one sentence alone, it will repel a lot of people. Good, because we know that a lot of people are not doing this work. So specificity is not limiting. It's actually discerning. It's helping you filter the misaligned people very, very quickly. So that's your profile. So I want to talk about reading people's profiles. So if you're a woman, you're reading a man's profile. If you're a man, you're reading a woman's profile. So what happens when people try to read people's profiles? Well, most people are reading profiles and looking for a reason to say yes. So they look at, oh, he's attractive, check. Oh, he seems like he's fun, check. Oh, he loves traveling, he loves hiking, check, check, check. But that is just data. You should consciously be reading profiles for what they actually reveal. You should be looking at, ooh, how does this profile tell me about how he thinks about himself? Is there enough self-awareness or any at all in the way that he describes himself? Or is it just all the surface stuff? My job title, my height, my body size. I have 2 dogs, been to 62 countries. No, beyond that. It should also be telling you what he values. So what does he lead with? What does he emphasize? A person who leads with his career first or his lifestyle is just telling you what he's proud of. But a man who mentions growth, connection, or what he's looking for in a relationship tells you something different. Another thing you should be looking out for is, how self-aware is this person? Do they take accountability for who they are and what they're bringing? Or does his bio just read like a list of requirements for you? I want a woman who's this, I want a man who's this, check, 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 checklist. So some of the green flags when reading people's profiles are specificity, evidence of reflection, language that shows that they think more than just the surface. So there's some depth to them. Some yellow flags when you're reviewing profiles are vagueness. There's barely anything in the bio, or a bio that's entirely about what they're looking for from a partner. So there's nothing about the type of relationship they're looking for or what they're bringing into a relationship. Some of the definite red flags are negativity about exes. Sometimes you see it in the profile. Sometimes you see it on the first date. Or you see things like defensive disclaimers. If you come with the drama, swipe left. Things like that. Or leading with physical requirements. I want someone who is fit, who takes their fitness seriously. It's not that those things don't matter. But again, the point is, what are they leading with? Also, look for the things that they don't say, because what they don't say is also data. So a profile that has zero emotional or relational language, nothing about connection, nothing about growth, nothing about what they're actually looking for, it's actually telling you something. In this case, nothing. So pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. The next thing I want to talk about are photos, because this is how dating apps keep people hooked on this constant swiping and looking at photos. Photos are not just there because they're pretty. Photos are data too. So beyond whether you find this person attractive, look at how they show up in their photos. Are they present, or are they just performing, looking for the best angle? Do they have photos that show their real life? So not just studio photos. Are they showing themselves with friends, candid moments, type of activities that they do, the experiences that they've done, the things that really light them up? Or is it just all perfectly curated, like I said, studio, or all about them being in the gym, or all about flexing that they're in a private jet or they traveled on a yacht? Every single shot is a perfect pose that looks like a photo shoot. So a man or a person whose photos show nothing but an aspirational highlight reel of their life is showing you a persona. That's not the real them. That is not a person. So when you're looking at photos, you want to see someone who is actually living a life, not someone who's auditioning for one. Group photos are particularly useful, not my preference, but you do see profiles that have multiple photos. They tell you something. So look clearly. How do they show up when they're around other people? Do they look like they're engaged, they're having a good time, they're relaxed, they're present? Or do they look like they're tolerating the photo just to add some social proof to their profile? So I want you to look beyond the optics, beyond the aesthetics. The photos are telling you who this person actually is when they're not trying to impress you. Now I want to move on to the early conversation, so the first messages and all that. How someone opens a conversation is also data. Remember, this is all about discernment. So if somebody says, hey, well, that tells you something, or in this case, nothing. It tells you that he swiped right and put in zero effort. A man or a person who opens with something specific, something especially from your profile, shows you that he actually read it. It shows you that he's actually paying attention, and that is worth something. So in early conversations, here's what to look out for. Are they asking you questions? A person who only talks about themselves and never turns the conversation towards you is just showing you his or her orientation. Are they curious about you? Or are they constantly presenting themselves like a resume, trying to get this seal of approval, trying to win the contract or get the job? Does the conversation have any depth, or is it just high-level surface rubbish about the weather, weekend plans, nothing that really reveals anything about them? And here's a practical note on timing. Don't stay in app messaging for too long. Don't do it. The goal of the app conversation is to get to a real conversation. So as soon as possible, hop on a call. It could be just a voice call. It could be a video call. The goal of the call as well is not to become a phone buddy. No, the goal is to get into a real in-person meeting. So you don't want to spend all your time building a relationship through text, becoming a text buddy. If he's been messaging you for 3 weeks and hasn't asked to meet, well, that's data too. So he's just here to be on the apps and just stay texting. He's comfortable. He's not intentional. He's just comfortable. That is data as well, because comfort without intention is not what you're looking for. Before you go on a first date, always have a call, because texting can tell you a little bit about a person, but a voice call or a video call tells you something. You're able to feel the person's energy a little bit more. So I know some people might say, oh my God, Joan, it's 2026. It's old fashioned. No, it isn't. It's efficient. A 50-minute call tells you more than 3 weeks of texting, because it tells you how they communicate in real time, where they're not using ChatGPT to curate some answers for you. It tells you whether this person can hold a conversation or whether they need this lag in time, like this buffer, to be able to seem like they're interested. It shows you whether he's curious about you, whether there's actually any energy exchange between the two of you beyond just the texting flirtation or the banter that's happening. And when you get on the call, you're able to ask some questions that can feel casual, but they actually alignment data. So you can start asking things like, so what's something that you've been focused on lately that isn't work? Or what does your ideal Sunday actually look like? Or what did your last relationship teach you about yourself? These questions feel like just regular conversation, right? They don't feel like interrogation, but those answers will tell you a lot about the person, whether it's even worth going on a first date and not waste your time. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is when to swipe left without guilt. You don't owe anyone a chance. You do not owe anyone a chance. Discernment is not cruelty. Swiping left on someone who doesn't meet your criteria is not you being too picky. It's you respecting both your time and theirs. And yet I see so many women who are like, he seems nice. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I should give it a shot. Maybe I should just go on one date. You already know the answer. So here's what I want you to understand. Giving someone a chance when your discernment is saying run is not generosity. That's actually self-betrayal. You're knowing when you know deep down in your gut. That is information. If something feels off in the profile, in the messages, in the energy, do not override it to prove that you're open. That's not how it works. Being open doesn't mean ignoring your discernment. It means not building walls. So those are very, very two different things. So I want you to trust what you know, swipe left, and move it on. Finally, your energy is the most important thing when you are dating, especially when you're using the apps. When you use the apps unconsciously or you approach it with a lot of negativity, it will deplete you. It will deplete you. So here are just some tips on how to use the dating apps in an intentional, conscious way. Set a time window for app activity and just stick to it. All this scrolling for hours, no, law of diminishing returns, and it leads to decision fatigue. So if you say 15 to 20 minutes, once or twice or 3 times a week, whatever is comfortable for you, that's great. That is more valuable than 2 hours of just mindlessly scrolling. Throughout your day, I don't want you checking on the apps all the time. Don't pick up your phone and start checking the apps when you're tired, when you're feeling lonely, or when you're feeling emotionally depleted. Because those periods, those are the times when your discernment is at its lowest. That's when you just match with all those random people that you wouldn't even look at on a good day. And look at your conversations. Audit the conversations that you're having regularly. If something has been going nowhere for 2 or 3 weeks, just end it. Just end it. So a polite, I don't think we're the right fit, but I wish you well. It's simple. No hard feelings. It's honest, it's clean, and moving things along. Leaving conversations open indefinitely because you don't want to have the conversation, that is avoidance. So the apps are a tool, and they could be a very, very useful one if they are used correctly. Do not be consumed by the tool. Use it for what it is. Meet amazing people. And who knows, your aligned partner might just be a swipe away. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. And if it stirred something in you, trust that. Alignment isn't a concept, it is a calling. And if you're feeling the nudge to take this work deeper, then I want you to go ahead and book your Aligned Love Assessment, where we map your patterns, reveal what's keeping you stuck, and explore your journey to aligned love. You can book your session at joannwosu.com. Until next time, remember, you're not here to earn love, you are here to embody it. So keep dating by design, not by default. See you next week.